Chris Paul is still playing, but not 100%. They are not the same team. But let's talk about the Lakers, because if Chris Paul is not going to be 100%, now the series, there's a couple days off now. Suns-Lakers do not play until Sunday. That's great news for the Suns. Get an extra day off, get Chris Paul healthy. He's not there, and they're not the same team. But we all know LeBron's the leader. I talk about this all the time. The NBA is full of talent. There's not very many leaders. LeBron's the leader of the Lakers. And it's money in the bank. You get that leadership every night. But once again, you see who the Lakers are when Anthony Davis is aggressive. But you don't get that with Anthony Davis every night. So whereas LeBron is the team MVP, most valuable, there's got to be some sort of bridge award for Anthony Davis. And I would say he is the team's MIP. He's the most impactful player. That third quarter was everything. Okay, 18 points, 5 rebounds, played every minute, and they blew Phoenix off the floor. Phoenix, good team. Phoenix, the 2 seed in the West. The Superior Conference, a 2 seed. Phoenix, good team. So LeBron's leadership and consistency, again, that's an automatic deposit. You get that every night. I mean, he'll have maybe 2 halves a year he doesn't play well. So you can always bank on LeBron's consistency and leadership. You get that every night. But when AD is aggressive, they not only beat teams, they crush good teams. I mean, DeAndre Ayton is a good young big. But AD had a crazy thing happen to his body. And I had a growth spurt in high school. I went from 5'7" to 6'2" over the course of a summer. I never forget my high school basketball coach. Oh, I got myself a quarterback. I got myself a shooting guard. Anthony Davis was 6'3" as a junior in high school. And then he was basically 6'11" as a senior. So Anthony Davis was a guard. And last night in the third quarter, you can see some of that guard come out. You can see that junior year of high school. For a big, he runs the floor better. He's more fluid. He can handle the ball better. He can put it on the deck and drive. He can pull up and shoot a jumper, pull back and shoot a 3. That's where he is different than other bigs. And DeAndre Ayton's a really good young big. But AD just took over the game last night. There's nothing DeAndre Ayton can do. That you're talking about in baseball, they call it a 5-tool player. When a guy can run and hit and steal and power. And boy, when Anthony Davis is locked in, you are looking at a big that can do everything. He'll put it on the deck and take you to the basket. He'll drive right through the middle of the lane. He can pull back and hit a 3. He can handle the ball, very comfortable, runs the floor, very fluid athlete. I mean, he hits the floor a lot. You ever notice that with AD? And that's Kevin Durant, too. Kevin Durant and AD get hurt a lot. They hit the floor a lot because they handle the ball so well. They're driving to the basket. Porzingis, by the way, for 7'6". Kind of a slasher at 7'6". Used to be a slasher with 6'7". Porzingis is a slasher at 7'6". So Porzingis and KD and AD, they hit the floor all the time because they're driving. And you got a lot of body. That's why nobody loves a 6'5" running back. You want a small guy that goes through, right? Don't want your legs too exposed. AD is big, and he's crashing to the floor all the time. But part of that is he grew up a guard and had a growth spurt. And so when you watch that third quarter last night, LeBron's the most valuable player. AD is the most impactful player. And if Chris Paul is not ready to go Sunday, and at least 90-95%, this series is over. Frank Vogel after the game.
AD, even though he had, was dinged up with his knee and was a little bit hobbled, really committed to what worked for us in game 2, which is really running the floor, being the first big down, putting pressure on their transition defense. And that opened up a lot of driving lanes for Brown, who mentally made the decision, to get downhill and just live in the paint and live at the rim. And he was dominant during that stretch. And, those two guys really reversed the whole course of the game.
Yeah, I thought the third quarter for the Lakers was the best they have played since last year in the bubble. As a team, that was a great quarter of basketball. You're not going to get that every quarter in the NBA. You can't ask athletes to be all engaged and focused like that and play at that level for games. But third quarter was the difference in the game. Listen, there's a million different reporters and a million different blogs. Everybody's got an opinion. I remember when I grew up, there was the media. And at the time I was a kid, I wasn't in the media. There was no talk radio. The fans only got a voice with a letter to the editor, a newspaper. That was it when I was like 15, 18. There was no talk radio. Fans didn't get an opinion. Now fans get an opinion everywhere. I could literally talk to our president on Twitter. You could talk to anybody you wanted. Tom Brady, Phil Mickelson, it's great. But there's also now, because everybody has an opinion, and there's so many media outlets. I didn't grow up. There was no Twitter, obviously. There was no social media. There was no such thing as blogs. When I was a kid, there was barely cable television. Media is everywhere. So it's important that, for me anyway, I'll just speak for me, there are just certain media I listen to, and it's a pretty small group of people I trust. Tom Curran in New England, we've brought him on this show. He's as good a local NFL reporter as the league has. When I used to live in Connecticut, when Tom talked, he broke stories. He was legitimate. He's not surfing for clicks. He knows his stuff. He's never hyperbolic. He just gives you the straight skinny. And a good reporter should be occasionally ticking off local people. That's the sign of a good reporter. If everybody loves you, you're a hack. If you're not ticking off local fans a little bit, you're not doing your job. And that's Tom Curran. So Curran comes out at OTAs. He said, I just finished watching Patriots' first OTA. One thing that stands out about Mac Jones' new quarterback is his size and lack thereof. Not just compared to Cam Newton. He's shorter than Jarrett Stidham. He really will need to fill out his frame as well. His arm isn't really live. You know, these are just observations relative to how far he may need to go. Fortunately, except for the height, the other things can improve. What did I bang on before the draft? Trust your eyes. You only have one chance to make a first impression in life. He looks tiny next to Cam. He's smaller than Stidham. Remember I kept saying, when Trey Lance walks into the 49ers, you're going to go, ooh, bro, that's a pro athlete. 6'4", 220. Justin Fields. I kept saying, Justin Fields walks into a camp. Even if he's not great at the line of scrimmage for a couple years, you're going to go, ooh, 6'4", big arm. That's a player. That's a baller. Mac Jones is the shortest of all the first-round quarterbacks. He's the least athletic. His arm is not close to a Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, not close. Worst NFL body. That stuff made Instagram, right? That made social. Now, a Patriot player yesterday, Kendrick Bourne, said, oh, quote, he has a lot of swag and confidence. He is a leader. Yeah, so was Tim Tebow. And I heard that about Johnny Manziel had swag. And you could say that about Drew Lock. In the NFL, you need a gift. And the reason you need a gift is because the plays rarely go as they're designed. In fact, Nick Saban and Bill Belichick in their careers have struggled, not against all quarterbacks, but quarterbacks with a gift. Belichick struggled with Cam 3 times. Saban struggled with Johnny Manziel. Johnny, for all his faults, had a gift. He could move. Why do you need a gift? Because when the play breaks down, how do you escape? Lamar Jackson's got his legs. Russell Wilson's got his elusiveness. Cam and Big Ben had their size. Play breaks down, one guy can't take him down. Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, the ability to escape and make any throw, sometimes not looking. The great quarterbacks have a gift that when the play, the line of scrimmage, a teammate runs the wrong direction, you can do something. You've got an ability to do something to save the play, and not only save it, often enhance it. Mac Jones, protection breaks down. Teammate runs the wrong route. Play screwed. That happens all the time. Protection breaks down 10 times a game of your 60 plays. Player runs a wrong route or he gets bumped out of his route. That happens another 8, 9 times. The running back can't block the oncoming linebacker, misses his assignment. Players trip, fall, held up. And so, you know, people can say, well, what about what's Brady's gift? Well, Brady played in a much more patient NFL when he broke in 20 years ago. You would give guys 2 and 3 years to develop. Tom was not. Tom didn't have a gift initially. Now, Tom did get drafted as a 6'4 and a half, 225-pound athlete. Tom Brady walks into a room, that's a big fella. Tom Brady, in every room he walks to in America, that's not like if he walks to a corporate event,